he was dealing with some stuff.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 159, where podcast talks about pop culture things that interest us. And sometimes there's whiskey. My name is John, and I'm joined as always by Andrea. How's it going?
Hello and happy Monday. It's going well.
Yeah. On this great, awesome Monday, we have a guest. For those that are watching, you'll be able to see. If you're a longtime viewer, you might recognize him. You know, he looks about the same. We haven't aged that much, I think. So, Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. The aging thing is up for debate, but we're doing okay.
Maybe if we do side by side comparisons, I'm sure if we go back
Yeah,
4 years, it's been a minute. So yeah.
it's like those
I don't
presidency
know.
photos. I've aged a decade and a half since then, I think.
Yeah. Right.
It's
Yeah,
mostly the
exactly.
innocence that you can see drained away
Yeah. Well,
as he's seen
children,
some things in parenting.
Mhm,
children will do that. So will school.
mhm. Well, I have more gray hairs now, but Dana tells me that gray hairs gained from stress can maybe go away. So
Mm,
Yahoo, you
It's
know.
important to have
yeah.
dreams, John. It's important to have dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, right. All right. Well, we're gonna be talking about The Punisher tonight.
Mhm.
Speaking of making dreams end, The Punisher. This is for the 2004, excuse me, 20-year-old movie here.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, we're gonna be talking about it. It's been a long time since I've watched it. You guys, same, right? I mean,
I've
or you
never
never
watched
watched it?
it.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
So we've got two people that have seen it and a newbie here. So
Yeah, it's
Punisher's
it's
had a
been a
number of
while for me.
iterations.
It's been a while for me, but it was one of my favorites when it came out. An original DVD owner, so it's been I
Nice.
think I probably watched it probably 20, 25 times.
Okay. Wow. Awesome. All right. Well,
So
we're gonna get
Yeah.
into that a little later. Before that, we're gonna talk about our weeks a little bit. Only one news story, and then we should kick it all off with our drink holidays, huh?
Yeah, not much since we just had a show last week. Man, we're overachievers. There's not much going on in the world of holidays, but or drink specific holidays, I should say. But there's one obviously big one that just happened in February here 5 days ago. It was Valentine's Day. John, did you do anything special, including maybe a drink to celebrate with your love?
Who would that be? No,
Who
yeah.
was that?
Yeah, I let's see, went to have Italian food and drink. I had a couple of their specialty cocktails. I can't recall
Okay.
what they were specifically. Um,
Is
one
that a good
was
or a bad thing?
it's good. Yeah, it was good. The one was their version of a Negroni,
Okay,
and then the first one was a lighter, kind of more citrusy sort of thing. That's the one that was more their invention. I'm not sure what it was, but it was good.
sure.
So, so
The
yeah, I
Negroni
did
sounds very
indeed.
you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not common if Ashley and I are going to be going someplace and having a drink that one of us doesn't get a Negroni if that's on the menu. Obviously you
Sure.
can just order wherever, but if it's on the menu, so yeah. How about you?
Well, my love is right here. So if I falsely report our Valentine's Day plans, he would catch me out. Um, we did indeed celebrate. We played volleyball, and then we went out post game for dinner, and each got also like a restaurant specialty drink. I think both again very befitting of us. I had something called a dragon's breath, which
Mm,
was mezcal, a little dragon fruit juice, and then jalapeno peppers and black salt rim. And it was excellent, spicy and
nice.
delicious, worthy of
Cool.
its name.
Really seems to be the one of the trendier things at the moment is the spiced up cocktail.
Yeah, I
Kind of
love
a
it.
zinger in it.
Bring it on. Bring it on. That trend should never die in my eyes.
Nice. Nice. Chris,
But
what
for
did
my
you
for my
end?
For
Oh.
my heartburn challenged partner here, that was not his
Yeah,
drink of
well,
choice.
no, I actually liked yours better. I can't remember what mine was called. Do you remember, Ann?
Yeah, it was a pomegranate mule.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So
I
yeah,
mean, that seems like
palm
how
mule
could
is
you
what
go
they call it.
wrong?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
It was
it's kind of
fine.
boring.
Yeah, I
Mm.
thought it was going to be a little bit more exciting. It ended up tasting actually. I'm not sure what else they had in it. I'd have to look at the menu, but it tasted more like a grapefruit, which wasn't particularly appealing. So it ended up kind of tasting watered down. So,
Mhm.
but
Mm.
I still plenty of my my wife's drinks while we shared the rest of
You
our meal. So
did.
Sure. Yeah.
Love
Yeah,
is
makes sense.
sharing.
Yeah. Well, good.
Also,
Nice. All
I
right.
should clarify by calling your drink kind of boring. I wasn't saying that part was befitting of you. All I was saying is it's common for you to order a mule many restaurants that we go to.
I mean, I didn't think of that, but you brought attention to it now, so
Yep. So
that
now it's
well,
out there.
I mean, now we're gonna
It's
have
my
our
slow
first
burn revenge for stealing my drink.
Yeah, I knew.
live marital spat on Popcast.
Oh, please.
I
That's been done. That's been done.
Hey, you're only like 40 feet away from me. I'm gonna just start throwing things at you. Unplugging your computer, causing mayhem.
Yeah, the mule is your go-to, isn't it? That's I
Mhm.
mean,
It's one of them. It's
uh,
one of them for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We
what
usually,
else? What
yeah.
else do you like go to? It's if the mule's
In
not on the menu.
past couple of years, I feel like if I don't want to, if I know I'm not going to get a lot of sleep, I'll probably do like gin something
Okay.
because it doesn't hit me quite as hard. I used to do, I mean, Jameson and sevens all the time, like forever.
Right.
But those those will give me more of a hangover than some other things. So
Sure.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I've grown to appreciate gin more for sure. I got a
mhm.
couple different ones now that James May of Top Gear fame, he
Oh
has
sure,
he has some gin, and so you got to order it from the UK, but it's very good. Very good. So,
what's it called?
um May, I think it's like May gin. Let me let's see, do I have a bottle of it here? I don't know.
While
I
John
might.
looks for that,
Andrea, tell us
I'm
our
gonna.
tell us our next
I was
holiday.
gonna say our one and only other holiday. It's also fitting of Valentine's Day. It's a classic. It's just yesterday, February 18th. Whoop! Little John booty shot over there. For those of you who are viewing, you're missing out if you're not. Um, yesterday, February 18th, was National Drink Wine Day. So, if you are not a cocktail lover, wine is pretty much a classic pairing also for any occasion, but also for Valentine's Day. And that's
Um,
it.
if
Literally
you
it.
were looking for a
Oh.
booty shot, I could have wore something a little spicier tonight. But yeah,
Oh, Alan helped you out.
yeah, James gin. Yeah, that makes more
Yeah,
sense.
Maze Gin.
James Gin.
Yeah, I still had a bottle down here, but or up here, but I must have. I don't know. I got two different kinds. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, aren't they like very kind of more unusual flavor pairings? Like I feel like there was like a mustard seed or something in one of
yeah,
them
it's
that you talked about.
so it's so in the UK it's called American mustard, if I remember this
Yeah.
correctly. But legally they can't call it that here because it's not mustard. So they call it American Ramstead or something. They just
Yeah,
jumble the
that's
letters.
right. Yep.
And so yeah, that's the kind of regular one, the first one they did. And then they have a like sailor's strength sort of one
Hmm.
that it's a little stronger.
That's
So
right.
and now they have another new one that I have not tried yet. So
MJ appreciated my booty call out for you.
oh funny. Nice.
Thanks, girl.
Yeah, so maybe I missed it when I was looking for are you guys drinking wine? I know wine
I
around the
don't know what
house is
I'm
a good.
drinking.
Yeah,
I am
I've got a
living my fate up in my partner's
yeah.
hands here.
Oh,
I have a drink that will connect to our main event discussion of the Punisher. So when we get into that, I'll bring her a drink.
oh, okay. All right. Okay.
It's silly, but
Um,
it's going to be worth it.
sure. All right.
Okay.
Well, I have one too that I'm like gonna say, I worked to make it connect because I wasn't really gonna celebrate one of these holidays exactly here. So
Sure.
I have the Italian American cocktail.
Ooh.
So it's Frank Castle is Italian American. So that's and here we have a cocktail named as
There
such.
you go.
So that's where I took that. Now,
That seems like
if
a
I was
straightforward connection.
I know, right? Yeah. If I was gonna be more deceptive, I would say I intentionally did this because I wanted to right away. But I'm actually out of lemon. I don't have lemons, so I couldn't use lemons. So instead, I used a little bit of orange juice and an orange peel. And the whole movie is in Florida, or a lot of
There,
it's in
okay.
Florida.
All
Nice.
right.
They
So
did really name drop Tampa a lot
yeah.
more than I was sort of expecting.
Mhm.
I don't know if
So
it was
we're
just to like
saying,
differentiate, like this isn't Miami, it's Tampa instead, because it also definitely could have given that vibe. But I thought it was very funny.
mhm. So I really didn't know what to do to it, but it still tastes delicious. So the Italian American cocktail is an ounce of bourbon, 3/4 ounce Campari, half ounce Amaro, quarter ounce lemon juice or orange juice in my case. Um, they said I think a tablespoon of maple syrup. I'm not sure. It's written funny,
Oof.
but I put a teaspoon of maple syrup in there,
So that's a lot of
and
Gross.
maple syrup. That's a lot of
Yeah,
maple
that's
syrup.
yeah,
You
gross.
you just
yeah.
lost Andrea.
I think they.
Completely.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, the teaspoon you could probably leave the teaspoon of maple syrup out if you wanted, and it'd be okay.
I
But
think so. I think I would. I mean, it all was working for me right up until that moment. Also, a
okay,
tablespoon is a lot.
yeah. Well, it's written BSP.
Hmm.
Oh,
A
yeah.
tablespoon is TB,
The
and the capital is TB,
yeah,
whatever. A teaspoon is TSP.
right.
So it's neither of those things. So I don't know, maybe this is a different version of one or the other,
Huh.
but it seems
Interesting.
like a messed up version of saying tablespoon. And
Yeah,
so,
it does.
yeah. I need a more reputable place to look for this cocktail, I guess. But anyways,
Or, I mean, where did you find that?
it was the
Is it a
first
format or
result.
anything?
Oh,
If
you
this
searched
is
for it on the
Tinder
internet?
cocktails, yeah. But there is
Okay.
another place, Little Sugar Snaps. They have a original recipe on there as well. There's some people that go back and forth between the kinds of Amaro. I'm using the kind that I have that's from a local distillery. So yeah.
I've solved the riddle. I don't know if I'm sure Alan is looking. BSP is according to a cocktails thread is a bar spoon, so it's half of a
Uh,
teaspoon.
okay.
Oh.
So
Okay, that
if you're
makes
noticing if you're noticing your cocktail's a bit mapley, you put
No, it's great.
twice
I
what was
mean
expected.
It's
hey, I was a bartender for multiple years and I did not put that one together. So,
Today
nice.
we learned
yeah,
Yeah.
today,
a
the
bar
more you
spoon.
know.
A bar spoon seems like a lot.
Th-
I mean, I guess I'm picturing the wrong kind of bar spoon, you
I
know?
mean, it seems more reasonable to me than a tablespoon.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, Alan
Yeah,
shared the image here, like a little stirring. I used that tonight to make
yeah.
this. So five
It
milliliters, he
says
says.
about the same as a conventional teaspoon. Okay. I mean,
Okay, all right,
so you basically put in the right amount.
perfect, perfect.
Well done. Well
Totally
done.
planned.
Unintentional brilliance.
Totally planned.
Hmm. All right, well, we'll wait excitedly for what Andrea's coming cocktail will be when we get to the movie. Before that, let's talk a little bit about our weeks. Andrea, what have you been watching other than The Punisher?
Yeah, not a whole lot. Basically, just kind of advancing on a show that we've talked about before on our anime podcast, Delicious in Dungeon, um,
Mhm.
which just watched. Actually, I'm a couple episodes behind the most recent one, but I just watched one of my favorites, the Living Picture episode.
Okay.
That was very fun. I wish they'd
Okay.
actually wrap
Nice.
that up a little bit more because that was really a good storyline. And then I'm going back and watching. I'm so famous for this, but this time it's for a purpose. I'm going back and watching a show that I already know and love. It's called The Irregular at Magic High School, but I'm rewatching some of it
Mm.
because I didn't know they just released a second season and a movie. So I was just
Oh,
like, yeah, I was totally shocked. I was like bouncing around on Crunchyroll and I found that and was like, where was this? Where was like the fanfare, the release, the announcement? Because I missed it. So yeah, I'm very excited just watching like the back half of the first season of Irregular at Magic High School, and then I'm going to move on to the movie in season
okay.
2.
Nice. Yeah, that was quite a while ago, right? I seem to remember
Hmm.
you mentioning that you were watching it. I s- I don't know if we saw that first couple episodes at a con once or
Hmm.
what. We didn't. Okay, because I remember sampling it
Yes,
anyways.
yes. There are definitely parts of the storyline that I put up with, and then there are storylines that I really enjoy, especially like the kind of early um efforts behind kind of creating magic as like a theoretical field of academic study. I think they do that really well. I think they get really like technical, but it's still really fun for me. Um
Sure.
and it's interesting to like kind of scientize magic. So I like
Right.
that aspect of the show very much.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember it. It was kind of before more things came out that felt Harry Potter inspired.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, good.
So
That's
yeah.
2 things. Getting ready for the con. Prep for the anime
Hmm.
podcast. Got the anime on the docket. Nice.
Yeah, and then watched obviously The Punisher, which is, no small feat at nearly 2.5 hours.
Was it? I thought it was
Yeah,
just over
Just
2.
over
Okay.
2,
All
yeah.
right.
220 runtime.
Wow. Surprising.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean it definitely didn't feel that long. It
Mhm.
felt daunting to start. I was like, oh boy, I definitely. By the way, when I was looking at John Travolta movies to kind of like do our little tie-in from Face
Yeah.
Off, John Travolta does not make short movies.
Okay.
Like the bulk of his
Sort
movies
by
are over
length.
2 hours. Seriously, like the bulk of his movies,
Mhm.
I found like 2 that are under 2 hours, and one of them was an hour and 59 minutes.
The man
So,
needs space to work,
he does
right?
clearly.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
it's for good or for ill. I mean, face off to Battlefield Earth. But
Mhm. Mhm. Yep.
yeah. So, yeah, yeah, this definitely didn't feel that long, but when I saw the runtime at first, I was a little like, "Oh boy, what did I do?"
Okay.
I
Well,
want to. I want
Chris,
to
how
hear
about
more
you?
about this.
Oh,
Well, I want to hear more about this little like bouncing around. Andrew's been telling me about the actor to actor. What was the origin story of that
all
that
right.
whole process?
So it was Nicolas Cage's
Are, are,
birthday.
are you trying to get back to Kevin Bacon?
Well, see, that's what I thought. It's like, oh,
Okay.
let's do a Kevin Bacon thing because we could do it, I'm sure,
Oh, we
easily.
can absolutely do it.
I say three
But
moves. We can do it in 3 moves.
3, you think? Okay,
I
so
think
like
so.
2 more then?
Just
Maybe.
we're gonna have to put Alan to work.
Yeah, no, it was Nicolas Cage's birthday a while ago, and a month or so. And so in honor of that, we watched Pig. It's a newer film of his
Yep.
that's was well received and everything.
I
And
I watched that
then
with Andrea.
okay. Yeah, did you enjoy it enough?
Yeah, I missed I think a key segment of the plot towards the end because I just had to walk away with the girls for a bit. But um, I guess to Nick Cage's credit, I didn't realize it was him until like 35 minutes in. I'm like, who is this guy? Like, I seems so familiar to me. And Andrew's like, well, it's Nick Cage. I'm like, oh, well that makes sense. So
Nice. So yeah, that's good. We were watching that and I enjoyed it as well. But then I don't know. It was like just we saw more recent Nicolas Cage movies, so let's watch an older one now.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we just decided
yeah.
to do one of our first retro rewinds of the year, and like, why not stick
Hmm.
with Cage? He's got
Hmm.
a huge catalog.
And then John Travolta was so magnetic in Face Off. It's like, well, let's do another Travolta movie now. So let's just keep You know, everybody gets 2. We'll keep ping ponging that way. So, and yeah, I'm sure we could get to Kevin Bacon fast if we wanted to make that a mission. We should call this out, huh? And the Alan
Yes.
found for us here.
Yes.
So,
So I should
go ahead.
clarify my 2.5-hour runtime comment. We watched the DVD as Chris is a fan of The Punisher, and we watched the extended cut. And I totally forgot that was like the only version that we have. So that's like old school where DVDs did not have like the option.
Mhm.
It was just like you bought the extended cut and that's all you have now.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that a little later. I should find some of the differences, or it'd be interesting to know what I
Yeah.
missed then. So,
Yeah, actually, that was one of the things I dug up because I knew that we had the extended cut, and we'll talk about it later. But there's some
okay,
key
good.
information that you miss out. So
Okay, cool.
Oh, funny. Okay.
Well, Chris, do you, other than The Punisher, in the last, say, month, have you managed to watch anything that you've really enjoyed or would recommend, or an album you've
not
listened
too
to, or a book you've read, or
not
anything like that?
not too much. Yeah, as I said, however long ago it's been since I've been on, dozens of episodes. I piggyback off a lot of what Andrea watches. And I'm still playing Pokemon Go in my own spare time, and but for
Nice.
the most part, yeah, I'm not a big media consumer at this stage. Life's gotten pretty busy with kids and my new job at work, so yeah, it's good to get on. It took a movie from my childhood to get me back
Yeah.
on. But
Yeah, I'm worried it's they were just, using, I'm like, am I just using this as an excuse now to rewatch movies that I grew up on,
yep,
you know?
yep,
Uh,
that's okay. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
so, well, speaking of which, I recently watched Speed with
I
Oh
Keanu
my,
love that
Reeves.
movie.
my.
Yeah. Um, I don't know why. I think it was a chain of, I'm doing judo and BJJ, and Keanu Reeves is known for doing those things for John Wick, and hey, Keanu
Mhm.
Reeves, Speed. That's
Yes.
what that was. And it's it still holds up. It's got a lot, Dennis Hopper is really good in there. That music, as soon as the music hit, like in the long
Mhm.
opening, I was like, oh, the feels came back.
Mhm.
It's got Keanu Reeves being really cool in there, and I think him and Sandra Bullock are great together. I
Mhm.
think that's a really nice pairing, and I don't know, just I really didn't have any problems with that movie except for one major thing, and I still
Okay.
had a problem with it back in the day too. It's the bus jumps the
Yeah.
unfinished road.
Yeah.
All
No
they would have
way.
had to do is close the gap some and make it on like a decline, and it would be more realistic, or like, like have it be a little offset instead of the being the same level and so
Right.
far apart. And then the bus
Right.
clearly like launches
Falls.
up. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, what is
The back
happening?
the
Why you
back falls down so
Yeah.
far. Yeah, it's totally at like this 45-degree angle, and it's like, there's
Ugh,
no way these wheels would hit
no.
that road. Yeah. No, totally.
So I really that was an issue. Otherwise, yeah, engaging, great, well paced. So
Yeah, that's a good one. Have you seen Speed 2?
yes,
I have
in the
not.
theaters. I saw it in the theaters.
Okay. Good,
Um,
bad sequels?
Chris, you
I
saw it?
mean,
You saw it.
Yeah, yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I probably won't watch it twice.
Well, I
That was the
remember
boat one,
enjoying it.
right? That was the boat
Yeah, it's the
one.
boat. Yeah, it's a boat. Because there's a
Yeah,
third
okay.
one too, I
I
think.
just
I haven't seen that one.
yeah, well, I haven't seen that one either. The boat just felt like I don't know. That was weird. And it wasn't Keanu, right? It was some other dude, but Bullock
Right.
was
Right.
there.
Yes.
She was on
Right.
some sort of vacation. It's like, okay, this is a little bit like you gotta reanalyze your lifestyle, lady, if you're finding yourself in these situations. But
I
yeah,
mean, but
I didn't love it. It just felt too much like they were trying too hard to create the same dynamics of the first film.
right.
Sure.
Yes. Yes. Not having Keanu Reeves there, this is a
Yeah,
non-starter, when I look back at it.
yeah,
I hate movies. Look, I know James Bond movies do it and stuff like that, but they kind of made a thing of it. I don't I don't like movies that set up a good relationship, love story, and then the
yeah,
next one comes out and off screen it was just over. I
Yeah.
don't prefer that. I don't
There's
even
like
like it
one
for
throwaway
Jurassic Park.
line where they like say
Yeah,
some,
didn't work out.
whatever. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Or
Yeah.
like the characters get on screen and there's like awkward like moment of like, yeah, remember when you left? That's why we're so
Mhm.
awkward now. And you're like, oh, okay, sure.
'Cause, like, I remember not liking this in the theater as well with Jurassic Park 3. I actually really liked that
Yeah.
movie, but I do not like the direction they took Alan Grant. They kinda kept him sort of alone and a loser, like, he couldn't commit to having a family, and so there's all this, like, regret amongst it. It's just I didn't need that dynamic for the
Yep.
movie, um, because then he's sort of, like, rescuing this kid again. We already
Hmm.
went through him adapting to and loving these other kids in the first one.
Right. Right.
He just
It's like,
regressed now as a character.
yeah, I was just gonna say it's like character growth reset. It's annoying.
Yeah. Mhm. So,
I was actually
whatever.
I'll go back and I'll go back and revise my previous statement. I was just thinking about trying to rack my brain like what things had I watched that I hadn't since the last time I've been on. But during hunting season
Oh
in late
yeah.
November, so during our I hunt up in northern Wisconsin with Andrea's dad and her grandfather. And we have a hunting shack, which basically is like we sit out by the fire, or we sit inside and play cards, or we watch old DVDs. So I always bring or the last 3 years, anyways, we've brought a random set of a series of DVDs to watch one a night. And so we did Die Hard 3 years ago. Well, 2 years ago. The whole, like every single one of them, all the Die
Oh,
Hards.
wow.
Hmm.
Yep. It's a marathon.
You have
We
a
did Indiana
ranking?
Jones. Yeah, we did Indiana Jones. Well, mostly we just count how many people get killed. That's mostly what
Okay.
Andrea's grandfather does. It's like, wow, this is out of control. They're over 100 in this film already. Um, and then we watched Indiana Jones last year, and then just this past season we watched the entire John Wick series.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so that was something I hadn't seen before, and it popped in my head when you were talking about Keanu and Speed. So, John Wick has been watched, and Andrea hasn't seen them all. So,
Yep.
I
I
think I
still
might
haven't
have
seen number
some.
4.
I think I might have a little bit of explaining to do. So,
Okay. So, um, fresh in your mind now, all John Wick movies. What do
well,
you think
fresh
of
enough.
them? Yeah, what do you think of them? What's your our biggest video on this channel is
Yeah.
John Wick special.
Hmm.
And talking about the fourth movie. But what yeah, what how do you rank them? What do you think of them overall? It's your impressions.
We
Yeah.
just talked last week actually about John Wick 4, I think, being put up for a couple of Oscar nominations. I don't believe that they got them,
Right.
but
People pushing for that to
Nomination
be the case. Yeah.
nominations for which pieces or which
I don't know what
uh,
it'd be if they have
I was
I don't
looking
know
at
the
that. I think
categories
I
they
think
have.
one of them was screenplay, another one was like sound editing. There were some technical things that it was up for, and then I
Yeah.
think
Sure.
screenplay too.
Okay.
So it wasn't acting.
Yeah.
I would say I mean the action is amazing, right? The scenes are great. The visuals are excellent, and I really like the premise of the series. Maybe it's because I got too much of it all at once, watching one every day for 4 straight days. I felt like the plot by the end of the fourth was a little bit overwrought. That it was not that I was disappointing, but just like okay, like I feel like this is a uh like you're stretching it out to stretch it out at times. It kind of felt that way. But the thing that bothered me the most, I think, was I didn't feel like we in for very much of the runtime did we get to see Keanu really use his acting range. He's kind of had that gruff, mostly silent way that he carried himself, and it stuck almost through every single sequence. And again, the action was amazing. The The premise was well executed. That kind of like The Punisher, the violent scenes were like, okay, well, this is a little bit more than reasonable, but it's still fun to watch because, um, but in any case, I don't know. The fourth was better. There was more character development in the fourth. But yeah, I felt like it wasn't what I was expecting. I also was not as traumatized by the dog scene as everyone else was from the first one. I feel like that's all
Oh,
I heard about for 6 straight months when the movie. I'm like, I don't even think I can watch this. This is such a
yeah.
horrible scene. I don't want to watch it. And then like you watch it, it's like, okay, well that was awful, but like it wasn't
You were
that bad.
yes, you were well, you were prepared. You had
Yeah,
steeled yourself, so you're
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I built it up in my head. I built it up in my
Yeah.
head. Yeah. I mean, again,
Okay.
I would say John Wick was, for me, and unpopular opinion, maybe, it was more fun and less compelling for me.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
it was a fun series to watch and I enjoyed it, but I
Mhm.
didn't find it like, wow, this is a really compelling set of movies to watch. I don't
Sure.
know. I don't know.
Was it like a revelation for you?
No, yeah. I mean, they were good. They were good action flicks. Like it was fun to watch. It was perfect when we
Mhm.
were drinking and hunting. Like, I mean, not at
Yeah.
the same time, but
Oh, we made
Uh,
sorry, Alan has commented, we made him a really easy draw to, Kevin
eh,
Bacon.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, if we're trying to get there fast, that works. So,
Yep,
yeah, his
we did it.
sixth
It's
is
Very
over.
Kevin Bacon.
The game's
super
over.
easy. Well done, Alan, well done.
Yeah, Alan found so the Punisher, Rebecca I don't know how to say her name ever.
Remain.
Okay.
Remain.
That's always said, but then I look how it's spelled and it's like,
I
no.
know.
Yeah,
Rebecca Romaine, Punisher, then X-Men First Class, Rebecca Romaine cameo scene,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
then Kevin Bacon is in that as Shaw. So
mhm.
that's quick. That's quick.
That was one of the other reasons when we were considering Travolta movies, I wanted to watch The Punishers because I was like, he has some weird co-stars in some movies that I don't care to like go
Mm,
exploring their filmography. And The Punisher had enough like bigger stars that I was like, we could pick another
yeah,
person's, you know, including Rebecca
absolutely.
Romaine,
Yep.
if we so choose. But
Yep. Well, it's good to have your opinion on John Wick there. I somewhat agree. I think one is a great film. The story is there. I like the premise, like
Mhm.
the cast. Having Willem Dafoe there is really good. Our kind of mob boss that's in there that's worried about the Baba Yaga is really good. Like
yeah.
it's a well conceived, put together. It has an emotional arc. It's all great.
Hmm.
The second one is fun and makes sense that he's like, okay, I'm getting pulled back in this way,
Yep.
and
Mhm.
I want to be a better person and stuff, but I just don't have a choice with this really. And so I was good with the action sequences in there, and the story again made enough sense. Three is where we started having problems. Yeah,
Yeah. It starts
three,
to slide at 3. Yep, I agree.
yeah, it's like at this point now. I was literally thinking about this today. John Wick needs to have a motivation other than like I'm going to run around to try to save my own life and drag a
Right.
whole bunch of people into the shitstorm with me, and then they'll
Yep.
die. Like
Yep.
during the fourth one, I really felt it where it's like you, I'm not rooting for you anymore. You've
Mhm.
caused too
Right.
much chaos. You've the wake of bodies that
Hmm.
you've friends you've gone to help you for what? Like he
Yeah.
needed to in the third one in my mind have like maybe Willem Dafoe's character from the first one has a daughter that knows everything about all this stuff, but she's never been involved, and the organization finds that she exists and is going to take her out. So now John Wick, as for to pay back his friend, is going to keep her alive against the
Yeah.
hordes. Motivation, proper motivation for us to be cheering for John Wick to be the hero.
Mhm.
Instead, it's just, I mean, action sequences, yes, I appreciate all that stuff. They're so cool. There's tons of great things in there. I just want a supercut of 3 and 4 of the cool
Right.
bits. I don't need to
Yep.
see the actual movie. So yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
I feel like you've hit on an interesting point that like we as an audience, I feel like grow weary with self-preservation as a motive. It
Right.
runs thin. And it's something I actually thought of in The Punisher for a particular character, and we can get into that later. But it like that almost literal thought was like, I don't root for you for self-preservation. You have to be just kind of in it for something more. Otherwise, you're not a likable character.
Well, let's just get right into it then. It might as well. Kind of got a good topic there. Interesting point. So, spoilers for The Punisher from 2004, starring Thomas Jane and John Travolta. What? So
20
what moment?
years. I feel like that's a spoiler
Yeah.
window.
Happy anniversary, Punisher.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, but you never know. I mean, there's
I
always someone
did
younger.
I did I got after Tony one time when he was gonna let a Buffy the Vampire Slayer spoiler slip, and that's been how many years? But that's also my favorite show, so I'm very passionate about
Well,
that.
there's those important things to a person. It's like, yes, you figure that people understand the big familiar, reveal in Star Wars,
Yeah.
but it's always someone's first time. So I,
Yep.
I don't know.
All right,
But
I'm gonna bring Andrea her drink. I'll be right
okay,
back on screen.
perfect,
Yeah,
exciting.
I'll be right back.
So while he's getting that, what's this? Expand upon your
Yeah.
statement here of
Yeah.
self-preservation.
So I mean, obviously it's no big secret, or it's not a long kept secret in The Punisher. It happens pretty much right away. Thomas Jane's character Frank Castle is an undercover cop. He's on one last mission. It goes wrong, and then but I mean, it goes wrong, but it goes right enough that he's like, cool, I'm retired. I'm going to go live happily ever after with my family at my desk job. And the only people who really know about my undercover life are, the group that was with me and my best friend, who just like the whole way that retirement and goodbye was set up, I was like, this guy's gonna roll on Frank Castle. And sure enough, he did. And it happens early because we see him post Castle retirement, appear. Oh, special delivery.
Hopefully this isn't torture.
That's funny. That was actually one of the funniest scenes in the movie. Good God.
Okay, for those that are listening only, at some points,
Yes.
Andrea's drink, when Chris said, hopefully this isn't torture, he's shoved a popsicle in the drink. So if you've
And
seen
there
The
is,
Punisher, you'll understand.
yes, one of the most hilarious faux torture scenes I've ever watched, where Thomas Jane, I really thought he was going to get into it. He's going to torture somebody with a blowtorch and then talks it up really big, like, oh, you're going to feel this, and your body's going to go through this extreme pain from like the heat, which is actually going to be cold, and then he whips out a popsicle and
Well,
proceeds to
great
pretend
scene.
to
It's a
torture
great-
the guy.
It's a great torture
so
scene.
funny.
it is
It's
good.
so funny.
It is good.
I mean, the Punisher really
Mickey.
actually, poor Mickey, he really wins out in the end. You kidding me?
The panic.
The Punisher.
He thought his back was being flayed.
I know, but like as the audience, that was hilarious. The Punisher was actually very sneakily funny. There were a lot of like bits like that in there that I was like, dang, this movie really could inject some great humor. Anyway, back to the original betrayal, which sets up the entire movie. Castle's partner, Jimmy Weeks, is a degenerate gambler and owes big money and tried to use like crooked money that was taken from the streets to pay off his gambling debts. And so like the entire premise is like he's being threatened to give up Frank Castle's true identity. And I just sort of looked at him and was like, God, you're weak. You're just going to roll on your best friend. And for what? To save your life? Like these people who are threatening you aren't just going to stop with your best friend. They are the kind of people who will like destroy him. He's got a family. He's like, off to live the good life. And you're what? Like just to save you? So it just felt gross and wrong. And right from the get-go, I just never cared for him again.
Sure.
That
I want
self-preservation,
to.
just like naked self-preservation, like you could just see it written all over his face. It was just such like a character turnoff that I was just like, peace, bye. I can't wait for Frank Castle to come back and kill you.
Sure.
So I want to test a theory because I want to make sure that my source is accurate, but it's better to do it live. It's more fun. So John, having watched just the 2-hour version, right? Yep. So tell us a little bit about what your take was on Jimmy, and then I'll share some of the bits that you didn't see watching the shorter version.
I mean, I guess for me, he was just, a means to an end. You find the weak spot. I guess I thought maybe it would be weird that he would be so close to the family yet after his mess up. So he's like, hey, how could you, he's thinking he's going to be killed right away, and he doesn't. And from there, I fear he'd be like, he's on the shit list.
Yep.
And instead, he's like, still has access. I guess that's kind of the takeaway I had from him. That was, he was a critical part then, but.
Oh, I mean, you mean like how he went on the skids gambling after like whatever the military service was, like and then he still was friends with Frank Castle. Is that what you mean? Or what do you mean?
Well, hold on. Maybe I'm thinking I'm the wrong person here. That would make me confused.
Are you thinking of Mickey or Jimmy?
Yeah. Jimmy's the black officer.
Oh, okay. So in the
you're talking about Mickey.
I had very little. He was to me in it so little. In the theatrical cut, it's really, we see that Frank, confronts him and says, "I'm disappointed." Like how, I'm not just mad. Mad is when I mess up whatever.
Yep.
How have there been no arrests? And then we basically see Travolta go and want some information from him, and he says like, we can't talk about the case,
Yep.
And then Travolta says bye to his son once more, and I don't remember him again. If he's involved, I don't know.
Yep. So here are some crazy parts. Like, so Andrew, this will really shock you because I knew the differences before we started, and I was watching for your reaction. So there's some huge parts. Like most of the extended cut is actually dedicated to this guy. So in the intro to the movie, you can see a cut of them fighting in Iraq or Afghanistan together. That is not in the original. So there's no reference to their time spent in the military together. The moment in the casino when they see when they like roll through all the money he's lost gambling at their casino, not in the theatrical version. So like there's a confrontation.
I was confused when you were talking about this gambling thing. I'm like, did I miss a moment?
Yep. So that isn't in there. Just wait, it gets crazier.
Crucial information.
Yeah, so like basically he's lost $200,000, and that $200,000 came from basically money that was in the evidence locker.
Evidence locker,
yeah. So that was in there. The watch, that whole thing is not in the theatrical cut. Like when he notices that his buddy isn't wearing the watch that he gave him like 13 years ago or whatever it was, that's not in that version at all.
Oh my God.
Just wait. It gets crazier. Where he lost his car, where he traded in his Porsche or whatever it was, not in the theatrical cut. And most of all, the forced suicide scene is not in the theatrical cut.
Okay. So I actually believe that because
it's problematic. Yeah.
Violence. Yeah.
Well, basically. So we'll just skip to the end of the movie and then we can bounce around, John. But like in the extended version,
Oh my God.
like one of the like wrap up scenes that Thomas Jane participates in is that he goes to Jimmy's apartment, which clearly he's downsized. He's lost everything now.
He has
And
no
he has
TV, no stereo, no like
yeah,
crappy car, no
nothing,
watch, no other.
nothing.
Yeah, he's like sold
Yeah.
everything to pay off his gambling debts.
Because basically the premise that you don't see in the theatrical cut is like the way that Howard Saint gets him is that he basically knows now that he's stolen all of this money from the evidence locker and just been spending it wantonly and lost it all in gambling debts. So now
Mhm.
they own him basically.
Well,
But anyways,
no, sorry. The other thing that the extended cut explains is that Jimmy's already been caught gambling and losing money before. So like the cops already gave him like a slap on the wrist. So like Howard Saint and the Toro brothers are like, yeah, you don't get a second strike, buddy. You go to prison where we own your butt.
Yep.
Or, you know, someone else will that we know.
And so towards the end of the movie, Frank Castle shows up and basically like ultimately says like, I know it was you that gave my family up. Like they're all dead because of you, like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He doesn't say those words. And then Jimmy like picks up a gun that Frank Castle very intentionally leaves sitting on the table and just as an one final test, and he picks it up and tries to shoot him, but it's the chamber is empty. And then like it's a heavy scene. It's hard to watch. But like Frank Castle throws him a single bullet and basically says like, I'm gonna sit here until you kill yourself. And he goes through with it, and it's just like it's a huge like, so most of the extended cut is about his friend and the betrayal and why it happened and how it happened, and it adds a ton of depth to the character, not just of his friend, but like what his ties were outside of just like being an anti-terrorist officer type of thing.
Right.
So
Interesting.
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. That is a lot. Okay. The gambling thing makes sense now. I mean, they definitely make it make sense in
they do.
Because I can't remember how they just don't really give you any of how they would know where Frank Castle is. His men just know, like he's on vacation, you know. And I don't remember if there's a line in there that says
I think
why someone would know, or
so Jimmy specifically gives them up at the Toros casino.
Yeah, but Howard Saint also has like a line about like our people are placed in this X department that could make it make sense to be like they would look up like where Frank Castle is, and then men would just go find him.
And I'm actually not sure I've ever seen anything other than the extended cut, because I mean I bought this DVD probably in college, so I've probably had it for 20 years.
Well, hold on to it, because The Punisher from 2004 is not available on iTunes in any way. I was able to buy it on sale on Amazon, but there's only one version, and it's the theatrical cut. So I don't know where you would get it if you don't just have a physical copy.
It's a cool little case too. The little sleeve is the thing.
Oh my God, I might have that. Oh, I wonder if I didn't. I remember that now. God, I wonder if I have that or if I sold it. Shoot.
We gave all of ours. We gave almost all of our DVDs away, but that was one of the ones we kept. So
sure. Yeah, I know we got rid of a lot as well, but there was some that, like, I kept Lord of the Rings ones, even though I have better versions, just because they were really big, fold out, whole crazy things. So, well, that's good to know. That does that adds another level of, you know, knife to the heart or to the back for the Punisher. That's great. Falls in line with like things I would expect from that we've seen in the Netflix Punisher as well. You know, that you've got an ally responsible for your family's death. So awesome. I was getting confused there, like gambling stuff. What did I miss?
That's so crazy. That's such, I mean, I hated the character. He's very easy to hate because he's so like one dimensional. They do obviously show him like being buddies with Frank Castle, but like the focus of the extended cut is on the betrayal, and then like to me, I just read it as like naked self-preservation both times, like
Mhm.
in the casino, and then later on when he's like gonna shoot Frank Castle, like he very much thinks he's got the drop on him. It takes him like several tries to actually go through and take his own life.
Sure.
Because you can just see on his face like how much he wants to live, which is understandable, but as like a character arc, just looking at it that way, it's not very sympathetic
It's a
because you can
it's a
see like the destruction he's caused
right.
and the body
Thi
count he's responsible for.
This movie is interesting in the way that it does blend those really hard scenes, even though in the theatrical that's not there, the suicide, it's like there's some brutal moments. And
Mhm.
then on top of that, still having our kind of goofy band of neighbors and the
Mhm.
popsicle torture. And so there's sort of a mix of tones that I ultimately think works pretty well. It
I
kind of
think so
makes
too.
the hard stuff more shocking, you know,
Mhm.
when all of a
Mhm.
sudden you
I
get
was
the knife straight up through the jaw and stuff like that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and
I
I
was
always remember that as one thing that always stood out was John Travolta's death. I always thought that
oh
was
yeah, that was
really
a bit over the
pretty
top, but it was
brutal.
good.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's good. And like, yeah,
I think we take all of the things he did to John Travolta in the like 20 minutes and kind of roll that into part of his death. But like forcing him to kill his best friend and forcing him to kill his
yes,
wife, and we think about the that is included in his ultimate demise. Like the
hmm
tying the guy to the car and blowing him up slowly and setting him on fire is it's a little over the top. But
yeah,
like the way
but
he
the way
goes
that
through that
Travolta
process.
like is like so defeated, but
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
is kind of crying and stuff. It just you
yeah,
really do bring him down to the
yeah.
bottom, and I
It makes it
like the
look
way
like just
Travolta
like
plays
there's
it.
nothing there's like just nothing left. He's
Yep.
like everything is gone, so why not
Mhm.
just die in this horrific slow way?
It's such a
Um.
great like cut down of his entire life. And
Yeah.
I like the way I love the setup of it, I should say. Everything that like leads up to that moment is so clever on Frank Castle's part. Like playing the long game, getting them to the same hotel, the parking tickets, like
Mm,
the phone call, the earring, like everything is so good. And
mhm,
then it came to the moment of actually killing them and I was like, what? This is the dumbest
mm,
decision ever. Like, you're under attack from this, like, guy who keeps not dying every time you try to kill him.
mhm.
You've tried, like, your own son has tried to kill him. Quentin Glass has tried to kill him. You've sent 2 top level assassins after him. He's still coming for you and beating you at your own game. He set all this money on fire. The Toro brothers are mad at you. And amid this shitstorm, you're like, yeah, I should probably stop and kill my best friend and my wife. They're the real problem here. I should definitely deal with them right now instead of after I deal with Frank Castle. Like
That's true. That's true. But I
it was
mean,
just there was one moment where I was just like, really, amid all of this, you're going to be killing, the love of your life and your right hand man, who is your everything plus your best friend.
Well, I think
but
there's I
what
think
is
there's this moment. Yeah, there's this moment where right after the boat scene where they blow up the second shipment of cash, right? Um
Hmm.
and John Travolta is just like losing it right before he has to like talk to the Toros brothers again. He says all of it and his hair is all over the place. Like
Yeah.
I think it like the whole like starting at that moment moving forward, it illustrates like
He's not
uh
thinking right.
he he's erratic, but he's just fundamentally weak. Like, and the only reason why he seems powerful is because he's surrounded by people who make things go right for him, and he's loaded with money. And so, like, slowly he chips away, and I think it's pretty clear that Howard Saint is just like plainly insanely jealous person, and he's doesn't feel like he like anything he has is permanent, and he doesn't actually feel secure in any of this life he's created. Like he's just waiting. He's constantly looking. Even the first scene, he sees Quentin dance with his wife, and he presumes that they're like something is going on. Like it's just obvious that he feels like he is constantly under threat. So he's just a weak person waiting for the glass to chip away. No pun intended. So,
Yeah, I mean, I did get some of that. I wish it maybe would have been like played up that he was finally at his like manic breaking point. Because
Yeah.
it felt like Frank Castle played a long game for an abrupt end, where I would have liked to maybe have like one more scene of like something happening where he's just like having a meltdown, and then he goes, or like something else happens, or like maybe we don't save, even though it was such a great line, killing his second son. Maybe we don't save that for the end. We save that for now. And then, oh God, you killed my son. Boom, both of them. That was hilarious. Good God. But yeah, so maybe we have one more thing that adds to the mania. It just felt like it was a little bit of an abrupt, like, I'm under threat from this guy. I'm focused on him. I need to, get my house in order. Wait, no, let me destroy my own house.
It felt a little
get
rapid.
That
like the decline was rapid. I get it.
Yes.
Also,
I like
another extended scene when you met the twin brother. That didn't happen in the theatrical version either. He just appeared at the arms deal, and that was the first time you saw him. I think.
I see. Okay. Okay, sorry, John. I like the.
No, well, I just think that it was. We just saw what his priorities were. His wife was his obsession. That was his priority.
Yep.
Like that's what. So when all said and done, his family and loyalty and stuff. That's the thing that mattered. They had a son die, wipe out Castle's entire family. It's family first, and then his. Quentin being like a brother to him, the betrayal, like all that, it matters more than the business. That's already suffering. So to me, it was just like that's giving us the alignment of the priorities here.
Sure.
Yeah. He's consumed by personal grievance, like a single personal grievance, like completely disrupts everything. He'd give everything up. I found it troubling that like he had amassed this obvious like international status and like clearly a place of I don't know, of some sort of power in Tampa, and he was like just like a money launderer for some Cubans. Like I found that kind of bizarre that like that's how he built his empire. Like it wasn't exactly built on years of infrastructure kind of thing. He's just washing money.
Yeah, I mean, but it takes theoretically, it takes the right person with the right equipment and the right people to keep their mouths shut.
Right,
to
connections,
I thought it was interesting. I did think it was interesting the dynamic between him and his business partner. It's kind of like, oh, they're gonna come and scare him. Why'd you invite him here? He invited himself. But then at the same time, he sort of said, "Hey, I have more guns. Like, watch it." So it's sort of I don't know. I thought that was a good dynamic between the two of them. Speaking of like hard scenes, I thought and Quentin, I thought that was maybe my favorite scene of the movie was when Quentin was getting killed.
Oh my God, that was so emotional.
I thought that was so well done.
Yeah.
Knives. That's what people say. Knives are personal, and he makes it really personal. And he doesn't defend himself because he just can't imagine this happening.
No, he
So I
never
thought that was
believes
really
it.
well done.
It's so weird. It's a scene very befitting of a movie called The Punisher, because clearly Quentin believes he is being punished for something. Like he's accepting that like Howard is attacking him for something, but he doesn't believe he's actually going to be killed.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
He doesn't know exactly what the transgression is yet, but he's just sort of like, you're hurting me. I'm still not fighting back. And then suddenly, oh my God, you're killing me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's weirdly emotional. Um,
Mhm.
Even as someone who like hated Quentin Glass, but felt sorry for him at the same time. That was a really tough scene, but it was brilliantly
Mhm.
acted.
Yeah. Well, he's always
Yeah.
good.
I'd say Will Patton was a good get for in
Mhm.
2004.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think a lot of I mean I don't know, it's not a action film by any means, but I think Andrew and I were looking at his track record, and I think Remember the Titans was a movie that a lot of people remember
Mhm.
him from.
Yeah.
Was that 2000? Was that before or after? Was that 2000 or like 2007?
That's
I
a
don't
good
remember.
question.
It was around the same time. I think it might have been before. I think it might have been before Punisher. I honestly don't know. But like I remember seeing this movie for the first time and recognizing him. So he had seemed like an awfully good get. Yeah, so Alan Stelling was
2000.
2000. Yeah.
So before,
So
yeah.
I think I remember watching the film and recognizing him and thinking, "Huh, that's an interesting, like, totally different role for this guy to play." But I mean, clearly, I think Quentin Glass is probably one of the no offense to John Travolta fans watching, but I think he had to be one of the stronger actors
Mhm.
for his particular role in the film.
What are you? But you. I wouldn't have thought anything of it, but then you put that in there about John Travolta. Like, what are you
Yeah.
saying here?
Well, no, I mean, I don't
Uh,
think John Travolta. Like, I think Travolta and Jane and Patton were superior actors, like surrounded by some fine, like
sure.
Yeah.
supporting cast, but like they they carried it. Travolta was good. He had some moments that were, I don't know, just like
Quentin Glass, I think, has a more complex character.
right. Yeah. I
He
think
has he
Travolta's
has a
character
more
is so yeah.
I mean, Quentin Glass has a more like I don't know, a compelling story arc in a sense of like where
Mhm.
he starts out, you think he's just some sort of like right-hand man, but he's
Yeah.
in everything. He's knowledgeable, he's ruthless, he's very efficient. Um he's this sort of like brother to Travolta, a surrogate dad to his kids, like a
Yeah.
best friend and confidant for his wife. But then
Yeah.
at times, like a very cold assassin. And then you find out he handles like all the business stuff too. Like Mickey gives it all up. He's like, he's everything. He's their lawyer, he's their accountant, he's,
Yeah.
their enforcer. Plus, then you have this whole element of his secret life in which he's gay.
Mm.
And, Frank Castle exploits that over and over very painfully for Quentin. And it's an emotional thing. I as like a viewer reacted to that very strongly by empathizing because I felt bad that like this was a thing he had to be blackmailed for. And he clearly felt like he couldn't share with Howard Saint even though he could share it with his wife. And so like you have this whole like range that he goes through where like Howard Saint is just sort of angry, jealous, paranoid. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't have quite the ups and downs. Even at his own son's funeral, he doesn't seem to have the downs that
Yeah.
his wife clearly has, or like Quentin
Yeah.
has.
It's not a discredit to Travolta, I don't
No,
think. It's
I
such a
I
credit to
just
Patton.
yeah, I think he
Yeah.
infused that role with a lot more like human characteristic and empathy than you could have expected from another actor, perhaps.
I
I
think
think it,
it feels like
I think
maybe.
it more has to do with the writing of the role rather than the execution.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think
both.
it's almost like they told Travolta that, hey, you're the villain in a comic book movie.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was just that little bit of a edge of, something a little larger that,
Yeah.
whereas Quentin's really, really down to earth for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Until Howard Saint got jealous and it really went off the rails. Like that's the last
Mhm.
45 minutes is when you get to see Travolta doing what he does,
Yeah.
which makes him so
Mhm.
good.
I
But
agree.
up until then, he's just that classic comic book
He's
villain
bland.
that like, oh, yeah, it's not going well, and I'm pissed off, and go find this guy and send in these people, and like you don't really get to see the.
Right.
I actually found his wife more villainous, like early on, like it's
Oh, yeah.
biblical. The
Kill them
like go
all.
kill his entire family. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right. Yeah. So
Yeah. Um, So I was going to say this is a little off track here, but I saw Andrea do it, so I bring it up. Firstly, I was thinking, Chris, what a clever ploy of yours to get Andrea to eat a phallic item on the podcast, the popsicle.
It melt.
Like,
It
how
melts
clever.
fast in the
Yeah.
bubbles. That's
And then as I see her pull the stick out, I was like, wow, not even once. Okay, whatever, I guess. And then well, I want to know what's in the
once
drink.
for eagle-eyed viewers.
Okay. What's in the drink? We don't know what's in it.
Oh, it's basically just like a homemade like gin fizz kind of deal with the popsicle. It was all about the popsicle.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
You do have cherries in here?
Yeah.
Muddled cherries.
I muddled cherries, but that's because the popsicle is going to be cherry, so I didn't want to taste fake cherry.
Sure.
Thank you.
Nice.
You bet.
Cool. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the neighbors. What do we think about the neighbors?
I mostly love them. I think like they are quirky. They are very caricature-esque, but again, I think the actors playing them found like a little bit of grounding and a little bit of like humanness so that they're not completely goofy. Like
Okay.
they're very like broad brushstroke kind of side characters. They're very obviously comedic relief, but there's just enough infusion of like they're interested, plus they care about Frank Castle, who does them a good turn by sending away Grace's, crazy ex-boyfriend, that they are like, you've done something good for us. Not many people do that. We will genuinely repay you in ways that we know how, which is you don't seem like you know how to cook, so share a meal with us. Guys are after you. We will do the very small bit that we can to keep them off your back. So yeah, I thought that they were very obviously like, injected for some lightness into the movie, but they felt like people enough.
Okay. Chris, what do you think?
A keen-eyed high school teacher would tell you that like they they bring home the moral of the story, right? It's about the people around you, like whether you call them family or not. The people around you and how you treat them are your family. So like it's a pretty stark juxtaposition. You go from one light scene with them, like sharing this meal together, or basically tricking them into eating, and then you watch Howard Saint basically pick off his family one by one. I mean, I think like the narrative there is like Frank Castle. There are people there who care about you even if they're not connected to you. And it doesn't matter like what your relationship is to them. Like you do good things for people around you, and they quickly become important to you. So, I mean, that's like how I kind of thought of them. Like they're the playful, not family, but family to Frank Castle, even if he doesn't want them. Whereas the villains in the story they throw even their family under the bus.
Right.
Just
The train.
to kind of, the train, to benefit themselves. Like I think it's just like that's who they represent. I think as a plot device, like his family without a family, like because if it wasn't for the people around him, he probably would have killed himself immediately.
Right.
He was out for revenge immediately, and then like slowly they help him recognize that like there are things, like there are good people who need defending, there are good people who need bad people, or good people who can do bad things. Like he's the reason why he becomes a vigilante and chooses not to kill himself at the end, like even though like obviously his wife doesn't want him to kill himself. So I think that's that's the plot device they serve.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think I enjoy them for the most part. I think it's the speed at which, firstly, Rebecca Romaine is like, she knows that his whole family just died, and she's ready to jump him. She's like,
That's the one ick where she's like, good memories can save your life. And I'm like, please don't use this as a weird like sexual con. That's
sleep with me, and that memory could keep you going.
Oh no,
which
no,
maybe I guess, but
I mean, not that she's not an attractive woman, obviously, or in the movie, a nice person, it seems. But yeah, that was definitely a bridge too far for me. I'm glad the movie did not go there. And then they just
Mhm.
sort of
Right.
settle into like, okay, cool, like you can be a member of our adopted family and be friendly, but not,
I
romantic.
feel like a more modern movie might have had that happen. It just,
Mm,
you
I'm
know,
really glad they didn't.
to I know because it makes Frank, who's already, you know, obviously going against the law, but you feel like is following through, as he says, natural justice or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, someone you can root for. But as soon as he loses that moral high ground in any way, that's over,
Hmm.
and so yeah, I think it's pretty important for the character if they don't want to make him more gray than the Punisher
Hmm.
already is.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
the other thing is, like, I just thought they were quick to call each other family. I get it, he defended
Sure.
him and stuff, but it was like once their first introduction almost is someone screaming and like, should we call the cops? And I'm like, yes, you should call the cops. If your neighbor, if that's happening, you call the cops. But they don't. And then for him to go through torture, having his face piercings pulled out, and to
Hmm.
not
Yeah.
give him up, obviously is commendable and impressive, but I don't see the background warranting that kind of
Sure.
loyalty and
Hmm.
so quickly. I don't know.
Well, effective or not, like they tried with the like no one's ever stood up for me before kind
Hmm.
of
Yeah,
thing, like an acknowledgement that like
it was important.
these people
Hmm.
these people have never had a protector of any sort,
Hmm.
and they're only safe because they're together. Like
Right.
that's like the narrative,
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah, I think it was patched
even if it
enough
wasn't
together.
effective. Yeah.
I think it was patched enough together, the fact that like Ben Foster's character is the one that said that and then was the one to be
Right.
tortured,
Yep.
albeit not like extreme torture. Obviously that would hurt. Like I've had a piercing ripped out and it does hurt. Um but no torture in that case, just
They're
an
like, "Where's
unfortunate
Frank
accident.
Castle,
I
Andrea?"
didn't give
Yeah.
him up. um but yeah, so I think it's like connected enough where like if you had tortured like Bumpo, who didn't say something like that and who feels like a softer character,
Yeah.
you might have like not believed that he wouldn't have given up Frank Castle.
Sure.
Um Obviously Rebecca Romaine's character Joan, I think, has some trauma in her past where we could have seen her give him up, but she's like hiding with him, so she can't. Like all she has to do is like cover his mouth so he doesn't make noise. That's a pretty like easy job to hide out. So yeah, not the most believable. I kind of thought like when Quentin was torturing him, he might give it up because he did a great job of acting terrified. It held together enough.
Sure. Yeah, that's where I mean, honestly, most of my issues from the film come from just some of those things, like that feeling a little too fast, Rebecca Romaine feeling a little dramatic, like
Yep.
you're gonna die. It's like you guys aren't that close. Like, just I know he has a really nice chest, but you don't know him that well yet. Like, just
Yeah.
um,
It made
but
it made me laugh. I saw when I was looking at so I looked at the reviews for the film because maybe I'm just not the movie critic I think I can be, but like I kind of went on expecting like broadly average reviews or whatever, but I mean Rotten Tomatoes, it's only a couple hundred people, but it was not reviewed well.
okay,
No.
And
I think it's like
and one of the
33% or something.
yeah. Yeah, and one of the comments was like, talking about Joan, like, uh, you see this guy working on this giant car with his shirt off, covered in oil, in the middle of the afternoon, and your first thought is he's an artist. Like, what is this movie? so, so yeah,
Oh.
anyway, I maybe I have a soft spot for fun movies like this, but
I- it,
I
well. So yeah, I did want to talk about that, like about when when we saw this, what we thought of it when it came out, what it
Mhm.
kind of even Andrea, having not seen it, like maybe
Mhm.
seeing that it was coming out,
Sure.
did you have an impression of it? It's one of the earlier ish first kind of phase of the modern comic book movies.
Yeah, it's just funny. I mean, I obviously didn't see it when it came out, but I did see. Uh, I mean, it definitely was on. Movies used to come with trailers beforehand.
Oh yeah.
Like you would see like previews and upcoming stuff.
I can't skip
And
these. Oh god damn it.
right, you're forced to watch that 30 seconds. So I do know that this was on something that I used to watch pretty consistently. I could not tell you
Mm.
what that movie was now, but it was like a trailer. And I always thought it looked good. It just never like drew me in enough to like say like I'm gonna go watch it.
Sure.
But it
Chris,
always
did
looked
you
like good action, like good fun, like seemed like solid actors in it. I just never had the urge to go watch it.
Mhm. Chris, did you see this in the theaters at all, maybe? Or
I doubt it, man. Back where we grew up, like movies were sparse, at least for me. We went to them sometimes, but like
it was rated
my
R?
gut tells, yeah, my gut tells me I probably saw it freshman year of college, like or
Okay.
Mm.
senior year of high school, something like that. Like that's what probably a couple years after it came out. Probably saw it on DVD for the first time.
Hmm.
So
I don't remember
probably
either,
saw
but
Chris Travolta was in it.
Mm.
okay. Yeah, from Pulp
Because
Fiction
I
and
remember that. Well, right, yeah, I mean, that was yours and my. I mean, not maybe first. Obviously, there were some classics when he was younger, but um, like as far as action movies go, like I was a sophomore in high school when I saw Pulp Fiction for the first time,
Mm.
and I love that movie, and so like I wouldn't be surprised if I stumbled on it and watched it on DVD for the first time. So
Sure.
yeah.
Purely
I
for
remember
Travolta.
distinctly the trailer for this because it
Mhm.
had like the "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor."
Mhm.
Let the
Mhm.
Oh,
bodies
sure.
it
I
like and
loved that
so I
song.
was just like, "Oh yeah, this looks pretty awesome." Maybe that was like, it was probably after Spider-Man, so we're getting in this kind
Sure.
of new wave of comic books things, and so yeah, I remember being very interested, but I don't remember when I first watched it. But I do remember thinking, "Hey, this is pretty brutal." I was,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and I never, didn't look at the reviews then, and so I, yeah,
Mhm.
didn't pay any
It's
mind
got
to that.
a
That was quite
it's got
good.
a
I feel like,
semi decent rating on IMDb. I mean, it's a 6.4, which is
yeah,
And
like
IMDb is
double
kind of
what it
tough.
is on double
Yeah.
what it
yeah.
is on Rotten Tomatoes, so just
Yeah,
saying.
Rotten Tomatoes can be pretty tough too. They can pan movies pretty badly.
Mhm. Yeah, I
I
think
feel
like
like I
a
remember.
6.4, that's reasonable. 7,
Mhm.
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I remember seeing this film probably around the same time because I found Thomas Jane to be just super compelling in this role. Like he's
Mhm.
clean and consistent all the way through in terms of like the delivery of the character. Like there are a couple
Mhm.
of brief moments, but like I mean, I felt like it was a particularly good performance on his part. But I remember
He's got
looking to see
great
what else
angry
he was.
face.
Right. I remember going and looking for what other things he was in, and that's how I stumbled on The Mist, which is a Stephen King
Mhm.
uh
Mhm.
movie and adaptation. Like that's like 2006, 2007, something like that. And
Yeah.
that's another like emotional thriller. I mean, obviously it's Stephen King, so it's an emotional thriller, but that's kind of an interesting film too. So I remember seeing them probably similar time periods. But
Okay. Hmm.
have you seen that
Yeah.
one? Have you seen The Mist before?
No, I thought it was supposed to be terrible, but I'm thinking of a different one actually. I
There's
I I,
multiple
I
versions
remember
of it.
this now. Yeah, I remember
Sure.
this
Yeah. So,
now.
so the mist. So the mist is like it's almost it feels like an M Night Shyamalan movie. It's like
Right.
oh hey something's like taking people in this like cloud that's come over the cloud that's come over this town. Like maybe it's aliens. Like oh yep, it's actually aliens the whole time. So
Good
yep,
thing we
it's
put all the
monsters.
spoilers up.
Yeah, it's alien monsters. Like, just so you know, that's spoilers.
Yeah, Alan says, "Are you thinking of The Happening?" I am thinking of The Happening. That's what I was thinking of
Got it.
initially. Yes,
Got it.
but no, I remember this now. Um, Interesting. Yeah, no, I think and it's a good question. Who's been the best Punisher? I can't answer that question because
Mm,
I've only seen this version, which I've always
Me
thought was
too.
very solid, and then the Netflix version,
hmm
John
And there are
Bernthal.
2 other movies.
I
I did not
refuse
know
to
that
watch
there
the
were
other two
2.
because they changed the actor, and I completely like, nope, not interested.
Well, I mean, okay, the first one though is 1989 Dolph Lundgren, so
Oh,
they
sure, sure,
didn't
sure, sure.
change
That's right.
that.
That's right.
Mhm,
Yeah, that's
mhm.
true.
But
That's true.
yes,
But
Punisher
Ray
Warzone from
Winstone,
2008. Yeah, he
I
is.
heard that's really brutal and good too. That's the thing. I feel
Mm.
like Punisher's been done pretty well. So I mean, I don't know that it connects. I feel like it's completely separate.
It
I don't
doesn't.
know why a
I looked into it.
sequel. I don't know why a sequel never materialized for this. I'm kind of thankful it didn't. I think it's good as it is.
Mhm.
But
Apparently, it was artistic differences with Thomas Jane and the person who was going to run the second one, so he refused to do it, and then they like dropped
Oh,
it for a while.
interesting.
So it
yeah,
sounds like he was in for it originally,
okay,
Interesting.
like just
yeah. I
pure
wonder what
vigilante
those.
justice, no character, no character. It would have been like John Wick 3.
Yeah,
just,
yeah, maybe.
just, just, just wanton vigilante justice.
Hmm. Yeah, but there's not even it's not even justice. That's the problem. It's not justice in John Wick. It's they're
Right,
all
fair.
going to kill
That's fair.
me because I made
Yeah,
them mad. So,
Hey,
yeah.
it's not justice in this either. It's punishment.
right.
He's very clear.
Oh,
Yep.
I do not want
man,
revenge.
It's
I
not
want
vengeance. Yeah, yeah.
punishment.
Mhm.
walking
Mhm.
commercial over there.
Hey,
That sounds like a
it's his
tagline.
words,
Put it on the
man.
top of the movie. Put it on put it on the DVD case.
Mhm.
I mean, when the brilliance strikes,
Yep.
it
You're
strikes
hired.
on air.
You're hired.
Let's see what else. I I don't know. I want to bring up other issues. I don't have too many. I immediately when the guitar guy, I was like, okay, Desperado. I remember this,
That was dumb.
and then that song. I used to listen to that song a lot. I had that soundtrack, and I would listen to that song a lot. It's very
You
good.
had the Punisher
So
soundtrack?
yeah, because that
Oh
has the
man.
let the body hit the floor and all that stuff on. Again, it
Oh,
was that era of superhero movies and other movies like Mission Impossible that would come with there'd be the score and then there would be the songs
yeah.
that people wrote, the pop rock songs that were inspired by and all that sort of thing. So yeah. I do have to say, but sticking to the music yet, I didn't love the score. Too often, I feel like
Mm.
they're on different pages. Like, I think if a modern
Mm,
composer today would do a better job, like, it was very brassy at times and heroic, and it just felt
mm,
grimmer and darker and meaner than that.
sure.
So I didn't think that quite meshed the way it should. So,
I agree with you for like the score. I thought like the soundtrack felt it immediately brought me back to the 2000s. Like when there was like song playing.
yeah,
I
oh,
was like,
yeah. No,
this
I
is
like
very
that.
the time. But yes,
Yeah,
I
I like
agree with
that.
you on the score.
Yep. Yep. I like some of the lines. Yeah, God's gonna sit this one out.
Yeah.
The brother line, that's good. And then uh let's see. I'm trying to look at some of my notes. What else? There was I just say, oh, I said they should call John Wick. That's how you deal with the Punisher. You give John Wick a call. I'd like to see that matchup, actually.
Okay. I'm sorry. Speaking of matchups, we have to talk about like the most, I think, ridiculous scene in this movie, the Russian versus
Oh, okay. Okay.
Frank Castle. Frank
It was a comedic
Castle is
masterpiece. What are you talking about?
so dead. He is so dead. He
Wait, why
gets
is he so dead?
he gets blown up. He gets thrown through walls. He literally at one point gets thrown face first, and you watch his neck snap back after running into a brick wall.
These
Like
are
I
all
am
breakaway things, Andrea. It's
no,
fine.
no, no.
It's an
He is
old it's an
dead.
old building. It's an old building.
No,
It's
Yeah,
no. He is
it's
barely
right.
he is
standing.
Rotting.
he is
Mhm.
dead. And even after Rebecca Romaine only stitches up the knife wound, which is apparently like the only thing that affected him, even after he gets like clubbed in the face multiple times, he just like has like a good night's sleep and he's like, cool, I'm gonna go fight some people. We don't even see him like take any sort of medication, eat food, drink water, like nothing. He just pops up out of his bunker like, let's kill.
He only needs
wild
wild
turkey.
turkey. It's all he needs. Yeah, that's all he needs.
No,
I was
I'm
gonna buy
sorry.
that for your drink. I was gonna buy that for your
That was
drink.
really
And
funny.
I decided I would spare you. It's
Thanks.
101 proof. It's Monday night. It's 101 proof. It's not. It's not.
Nice.
It's
Just
not a
see
good
me
taste.
swigging out of the bottle.
No.
Um,
I have to clean up the mess. That's. I'm not gonna do that. Peel you out of the room.
Speaking of mess, this scene was very fun. Obviously as we're like, watching the sidekicks and outcasts dance around, and wishing like just see that he's being just see that he's being beaten to death. Go help him. But yeah, no, I'm sorry. There was so much about this scene that was wholly unrealistic. This was by far for me the least believable action of the movie. Also including the face melting pasta water, which heck yes would have burned, would not have bubbled. If anybody's ever gotten like boiling water on them, the boils are not instantaneous. They take a minute. Your face gets red or your skin whenever it hits, and then bubbles pop up later. So it was comedic and it was very funny.
Yeah.
And it was, it looked like it hurt. Damn. But that is in no way, shape, or form believable.
While watching live, the only comment I made was, yeah, but he wouldn't be able to see anyways. So like it serves the purpose. He falls down the stairs. It's all the same.
Agreed. All I'm saying is he just wouldn't have looked like, an extra from Rocky. Like, I'm sorry.
I see, to me, that was where they handled well splitting that tone again. I just think that's a hard thing to do. And I didn't have any issues with it in this movie. I just think that there's enough time in between each of the things or whatever. And the brutal scenes are brutal enough that I don't know, it works for me. Like the action scene I don't like the most, I guess, is the sort of like high noon Mexican standoff sort of thing.
Yeah.
Funny.
It's like no one has a holster to quick draw from. This is not the right setup. And then
nobody waits for each other.
Why is he given the chance here? Like if these aren't two people he respects or something, he just would gun him down. But quibbles, it's like
So I'm gonna say I've now said my least favorite, which is like the whole Russian beat down in the apartment. My favorite way to kill someone was the paper cutter to the head.
Oh yeah.
Directly after this scene.
Did it have anything to do with his shirt being off? Like it just
nothing. No, I didn't. I did not care about that at all.
That's why I like that scene.
That was a gnarly paper cutter. That thing was like brutal. It was like a scimitar. Yeah,
brutal.
It was medieval. That was medieval. Like we're gonna paper cutter. First of all, a paper cutter in his shop. What was that thing?
I mean, maybe it was a metal cutter. I don't know.
Was he like doing arts and crafts?
I've seen one like that. Like it's old school, But
I love it.
Yeah, you're right.
I love that he just pops it off and then just like stalks out there and he's like, "Hey, you're here. Now you're not here." Like
he's
brutal,
cutting up
cold,
flyers.
efficient.
Signs. Need a Punisher. 100 Punisher.
Yeah.
He's cut up signs.
Bounty hunter here. So that was my favorite way to kill someone. I think my favorite action sequence was the closing in the club where he sends up the bottle of champagne. Because first of all, I love that people are drinking champagne. They're like getting ready to lock down the club because Castle's coming. And they're just like, no, we should be drunk for this. And just the guy.
They all got 50 grand. They're all rich now.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Just the guy who like opens up the bottle and just, oh shit. Like that. That was my favorite, like, I'm going around killing people.
That's good.
Action sequence. That was the start
Yeah,
to
Andrew,
a great like up action sequence.
yeah, Andrew mentioned that too. She recognized his face that he was he's Kevin Nash. He was a pro wrestler, the Russian. I
Oh,
don't
the
want to
Russian,
lose
yeah.
that. I don't want to lose that trend. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, Andrew, you said what movie was it that you saw? You said you saw him in before.
I've seen him
The
in a
Russian.
couple of different I've seen him in a couple of
It was,
different things,
It
but
was
obviously
Magic Mike, wasn't it?
yes. So
Yeah.
he's Tarzan from Magic Mike, which is very befitting because he is a large man. But yeah, no, I used to watch wrestling when I was younger. I followed it pretty closely. And he was
Oh,
part of the NWO with Hulk Hogan.
Alan says he was in John Wick too. Really,
Yes. Mhm.
the connections here.
Yeah.
I don't.
Look
I don't
at
remember.
us.
Yeah.
As Francis.
Francis. Not familiar.
Huh. I don't remember. Chris, you watched the most recently.
Man, we binged them. I have no recollection of any of those movies, barely.
We need a picture. We need a picture, Alan. Help us.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, what else do we have to say? I think this to me, this harkens back to a time of fun comic book movies. Honestly, it was a time where there wasn't a lot, like we're kind of back to it now, where there wasn't a lot of care given to the source material. But I think that this movie, probably pleased a lot of fans because it feels like The Punisher, like
Yeah.
the name is right, the character looks as he does, the family story is right, the friend betrayal, which is in the extended cut, and not the theatrical one. I just think a lot of that
He's the
makes sense.
Yeah, he's the bouncer that he lets off his friend. He gets into the club and he doesn't kill he doesn't kill the bouncer in John Wick. Do
Oh.
you remember that,
Gotcha.
John?
Yeah, that sounds right. Okay.
Yep.
Sneaks up behind him
Alan-
and says like, "How's the family? How's the family?" or something like that, some pithy, whatever.
Alan's thing
Yeah,
here is
you've
the
lost
screen says
weight.
you've lost weight.
Yep.
Oh, sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Then he goes and kills a bunch of Russians.
Nice. As you do.
As you do.
I wanted to bring up my one. I have very little Punisher material. This
Mm.
here is this is a freebie Marvel Knights sketchbook when they
Mhm.
were kind of relaunching some of this stuff. And you can see how the Punisher on the cover there looks pretty large and
Mhm.
impressive. So they do a few sketches of different of Daredevil and some of that in here, but then of Punisher as well. So here's a sketch of Punisher.
Mm.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
So little comments by it and some of that as well. And I want to show you the Black Panther, like how they're missing out on the movies. Like this is Black Panther. It's pretty sick.
That is pretty sweet.
So,
oh, thank you,
but
Alan.
yeah, very little Punisher stuff other than I've read digitally some Savage Avengers. He's in that. And so, yeah, a lot of my, this was really my first introduction to Punisher outside of probably a guest appearance in the Spider-Man cartoon. So, yeah.
How is Shane from Walking Dead in the Netflix series?
John Bernthal.
Is he good at all? Is he good at all?
Very good.
Yes.
Very
yes, he
good.
is. When it was first cast, I'm like, that's kind of an odd pick,
Yeah.
But the first season of The Punisher on Netflix is very well done, I think.
Okay.
It is.
Maybe that was exactly how he was written. That's how I was supposed to feel, but I found him very annoying in The Walking Dead, and so I think maybe that was intentional.
Oh.
Like that was what they meant for you to feel.
To me, in The Walking Dead, yeah, he's the person that is moving ahead to the new situation in the world too quickly for everyone else. And so, that ends up being annoying. It's like, hey, hold on here. We're in this together. Let's be civil. And also, it's like, we don't have time for that. It's like, we're gonna die here. We're taking this seriously. And so, and he was I don't know. I agree. He was like the guy. He was the other guy. He's the one that got the shaft. Laurie's the one you should be upset at.
That's true. They all did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough situation, obviously. What do you do? But
Yeah, I mean, I think okay. I
Walking
didn't
Dead.
expect. I know. I was like, I didn't expect to go on a Walking Dead tangent, but I agree with both of those points in that, like, Shane can be annoying, and also like he's in a shitty situation, not of his making, where he's like, I got the girl, and now she's being all wishy washy. She wants to keep secrets. Like, I
Yeah.
don't feel great about that. Shane is such a straightforward, just like bulldozer type of guy that Lori's asking him to like basically go against his entire character, and he's just like, I hate all of it, and he manifests that as like aggression, and so that makes you even more annoyed at him.
Hmm. Right.
So both, and he has like not some great, he says some not so great aspects of his character, and he's put in a shitty situation in which like he's being told to act against his nature. Powder
Well,
keg.
Chris, did you not see Daredevil season 2 either for Netflix?
No.
I did not. I did not.
Okay.
I watched season 1 with Andrea.
Yes,
Okay.
I was gonna say he's seen pieces of it of season 2 with me as well, but
Mm,
with less regularity than season 1.
Yeah,
mm,
I think John Bernthal does a really good job. I am happy that he is Punisher.
Mhm.
He cares about the character. I think things slid in season 2 for him, but he cares a lot about the vet stuff. Punisher is pretty
Mm.
important
okay.
to some veterans and
Yeah.
things, so he's kind of gone on record saying like, I will just not do this. Like, I really care to do this character justice. And
Mhm.
Sure.
apparently, the later, more recent rumor was that he turned down an option to, like, they wanted him to be in Daredevil Born Again.
Mhm.
And he
Mm,
said, I'm not doing it because he was not happy with the direction that the show
mm,
was going.
Mm.
And so he is, they are making a Punisher show that I
Mhm.
guess he has worked on and is approved and is going forward with. But yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if he does end up on the totally retooled version of Daredevil, since they're scrapping and going back.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if that rumor was talking
Tree.
about the one that had already begun filming, or
Mhm.
if that's, yeah, how recent that is. Yeah. It's a good
Yeah.
question. So,
Uh,
okay.
I do have to
Yeah.
say, being introduced to John Bernthal first, and like now Thomas Jane second.
Yeah, right.
Tho Thomas Jane physically is insanely impressive in this movie. Like, Chris and I both commented multiple times, like, my god, he is ripped. He is in insane
mm,
physical shape, and it makes a lot of, like, the things that he accomplishes in this movie very believable.
mm.
Just saying,
I
like,
I
he is very physically imposing.
Yeah, I think that Bernthal he is, to me, from like my novice eyes or whatever, would be what a Marine would be. Like, that makes sense
Mhm.
to me.
Sure.
Like, he's
Yep.
Marine,
Yeah.
physical fit, like ready to go kind of form. Thomas
Mhm.
Jane here is like showcase form,
Mm.
he's got
Right.
the show abs, and he's,
Yeah.
ready to look good
John
on screen.
John Bernthal feels more grounded as a soldier. Thomas Jane
Mm,
feels more like just straight up physically imposing. It
Sure.
yeah.
doesn't
'Cause
I don't think his physical type fits like the background of the character as well, but he just feels like, yeah, he just could pull off some of this with his like sheer physicality.
Sure.
how do they treat Barenthal in the show? Is he more of the soldier type, or is he more of the Thomas Jane like tactician, like long, like drawn out plans that are like executed bit by bit? Because that's really, I think that fits Thomas Jane in this version, because he doesn't, like, he does have the like the melee fighting at times, but not really. Like, those, not when he's impressive. He's impressive when he's executing these plans he's designed, kind of like in a
Sure.
like more
Yeah. No, I don't
operational kind of thing.
recall the tactician, like, kind of setting up a punishment or revenge,
Mhm.
setting that up kind of scheme in I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
recall
either.
that. A little more blunt weapon sort of thing,
Yeah.
but impressive in that way. Because right, the kind of head-on confrontation that we have here in the movie is feels a little like it's missing the soldier bit about a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like let's
Yep.
stand in front of the room, shoot, you know, where's the get behind cover? He takes a lot of hits in that bulletproof vest, you know,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I do agree with that actually. That kind of makes sense. He really excels at the set up the plan, the get inside, make, you know, I like that a lot. That's good. And then the bow. Like the other elements
Yeah.
of combat
Yeah.
for him, having the bow, it's like, yes, the
Mhm.
silent kill. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's good. Yeah, it'd be interesting if you check out The Punisher at all and what you think of it, Chris. I'm curious to see the other movie yet. I don't know. I know we have our thing. We have to keep going, but on the side, I feel like I need to see so I can say who's the best Punisher
Well, then you have to
or my
see
favorite.
2 more.
I guess, you know, Dolph Lundgren, I guess, you know.
Technically, it's
Does he
called The
dye his hair
Punisher.
or is he blonde in there? You know,
I mean, I don't know. I
I don't
looked
need a
it up.
blonde Punisher.
Yeah, when Thomas Jane rolled out as Otto Krieg in that very first scene, I
That
laughed
was
out loud.
strange. That
I
was strange.
laughed out loud, and I actually didn't think it was him for a minute. I thought it was Aaron Eckhart.
Mm.
I thought it was like
Oh, I
Harvey
get them
Dent rolling
confused.
through there. I
Yeah,
was
I get
like,
them confused.
sorry, who are you? Oh, it was terrible.
That was the point. It was impossible to tell who he was.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
because you didn't want to look at him because he looked ridiculous.
It was a
Mhm.
perfect disguise. Totally
Oh
believable.
God. So awful. So awful. Oh my gosh. The
I-
Punisher from 1989 is an hour long.
Well, there you go.
It is
Okay.
quite
I
short.
guess then I have to do it.
And he is a brunette. Or maybe it's
Alright.
black hair. I can't tell. But it is not
Okay.
blonde.
Okay. I need to um see. I also I also like the scene too. A glass is in the department store waiting. The guy comes up to him so enthusiastically.
Fuck off.
Need help with some underpants, sir? It's like I've never been asked that. You know, how are you going to help me exactly? I mean,
Right. No, that was another part where this movie is just like sneaky funny. It just
yeah.
drops some like little comic gems in there when you
Mhm.
least expect it in very, very tense situations.
Yep.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this.
Well, good. Good. That's awesome. Well, that must make you happy, Chris. You know,
Yeah,
like
we can
childhood favorite.
we can sell the DVD now. It's happened.
No, no. You got to keep that
No.
cool sleeve there and stuff. Yeah.
We didn't even watch the other version that has like an animated intro. Now I'm interested to see that too.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah, the
and
animated intro is all about his soldier experience as a Marine. So
JP told us earlier that there's some videos you can find of like Thomas Jane doing some Punisher type activities,
Yes,
like pre-movie
I found
launch
it.
too.
Yeah, I found it.
You
It's like
should,
a 10-minute YouTube video and it's called Dirty Laundry.
okay, you should send it over.
Hmm.
You should let
I will. I will.
text it so we can see it. So. Okay. Well, any last thoughts on the Punisher from 2004?
Solid movie.
good one.
Like a B+ movie.
Sure. Yeah.
Blasphemy.
Cool. All right.
It's really good. I really enjoyed it. But I mean,
like
it's it's not like top tier. It's really good though.
It's what you
I was
want
surprised
from
that
a movie called The Punisher.
Yes, exactly. It fits
Mhm.
the bill.
I was surprised by its box office numbers. I understand why it's seen as a poor showing. I just like when they get good gets. So when they have like really talented actors, even if the film isn't successful, you know that even if the roles are limited by mediocre writing, what have you, like you just know you're going to get some good performances, and I think you got that in this film. So that in and of itself was enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
All
could
right.
see how this would be a tough sell commercially because it is so violent. I don't think that there's anything wrong with the quality. I think it's very much a quality movie. I think it's a tough, like, we're bringing the family to this. So, you're going to limit your audience.
I think if this movie comes out today, it does way better
I
than at the
agree.
time.
I agree.
I agree.
Yep. The slapsticky violence is more common now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's just ahead of its time here.
Yep. That's right. And maybe they broke even in DVD sales and stuff like that afterwards.
That's probably-
And
yeah.
if nothing else, I mean, look, like you say, they were going to make a sequel, and they did make something else, so there was enough there. But all right, well, that's The Punisher from 2004. That is we went Nicolas Cage in Pig to Nicolas Cage in Face Off, which had John Travolta, to John Travolta in The Punisher. So
Mhm.
everybody
What's
can let us
next?
know, what should be next. The obvious pick is to do a Thomas Jane film. Take the other. That would be the obvious choice. But we do have a number of. I mean, Ben Foster is no slouch. He's been in stuff.
Rebecca
Obviously,
Romaine,
yeah.
Will Patton.
I mean,
what
I'm
are the
tempted to
parameters? What are the parameters for the film?
nothing.
Nothing.
Like,
Yeah, no,
nothing?
just
No, like not action, not anything, just whatever.
We want to be able to both of us want to watch it. That has to be the thing.
Okay.
and it has to have like a co-star. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Somebody
think
in this movie.
Don't dead end yourself.
If you don't
Yeah.
If you don't like The Mist, which doesn't really have any other stars in it, I will humbly submit Armageddon, because Will Patton is in Armageddon, and that's a fun flick.
Okay. I mean,
It's
there's
loaded.
a lot
It's a
of
loaded
choices.
cast.
It's loaded. Yes, it's loaded.
Unlimited choices.
See,
Unlimited
part of me was
choices
like
and
Will
versions
Patton,
afterwards.
so I
I am
could
gonna
do Gone in
confess.
60 Seconds.
Oh, that's a good one. Then we're back to Nic Cage, though.
Yeah.
I know. That's why we can't do that.
Careful.
Yeah.
It's okay. There's I mean, Giovanni Ribisi and a whole bunch of other people in that film. You go anywhere you
Yes.
want with that one too. You
Oh
can do
yeah,
fine.
no, for sure. Confession time. I have not fully seen Armageddon. I have seen the end of it,
What
but
the heck?
I haven't seen the beginning of it.
Oh,
Andrea, that was
God,
such
who
a
am I
big
married
deal.
to?
Don't you remember the
I know.
song and high school
know.
dances?
Oh
I
my
know.
God! When he serenades his own daughter, it's perfect.
So creepy.
Oh man.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
mean,
good.
I've seen
I say that
like
that's gotta
the
be a
end of it,
consideration.
but yeah, no, I haven't seen the beginning
We
of it. I
should-
haven't seen the full movie.
Man, we should probably do that. We're just doing our childhood revisits. I mean, in your
That's
case,
fine.
but
It's
we're
fine.
still, it'll bring you back,
Yeah.
even though you haven't seen most of it.
I mean, it'll bring me.
And,
Yeah, I was gonna say it'll bring me back to a middle school gymnasium.
yeah.
Yeah. We need Alan to dig up some numbers on viewership. Maybe you're exposing a bunch of people in their mid-20s to movies they've never seen before, and you're doing a public
That's
service for the millennial generation.
That's true.
There you go. Oh, the things we tell ourselves.
Alan says Thomas Jane was in an uncredited scene in Scott Pilgrim.
Ooh,
Interesting.
That's fun.
I do want to pick. That's not a criteria for sure, I would say, but I would like to have something where someone they have a role with some meat on the bone, like they're in the film and they play a part. It's that's why, like, obviously picking Thomas Jane makes sense. He's really a big role here. How big of a part is Patton in Armageddon? I don't remember.
He's
Obviously,
important.
I can't tell you.
A lot of the character development, because he's one of the astronauts, right? So he's
okay.
a key part.
All right. Okay.
Well, stop. His name is Chick in the film, so he's important to the film.
Oh my God, Thomas Jane is in Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's another one of my favorites. I watched that so many times.
I do.
Deep Blue Sea would be a good choice.
I do love
forgot
that film.
was him.
LL Cool J as the chef. Ah.
Oh God.
I like that movie too.
Oh, Samuel.
I think those
L.
are two good
Jackson.
choices.
Oh
They
my god, I
almost cured
almost forgot.
Alzheimer's.
I forgot that Stellan Skarsgård was in that one too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, now you remember? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
I think those
Oh
are two
god.
solid choices. Armageddon
Yes.
or
Oof.
Deep Blue Sea.
Yes.
So either Thomas Jane or Patton here. So
Yeah.
Here,
All
let's
right.
think
look,
on that.
look at the supporting cast, and then you can decide where you go.
They both
I mean,
have
you get
good.
Well,
Sam,
I mean, they both
you
have
get
very solid supporting casts.
you get Sam Jackson. Like you can't really
I
go
mean,
wrong there. Go
that's like
anywhere.
limitless. That might be too many possibilities.
Right.
I just don't think for your viewership, I don't think you want to spend too many cycles on LL Cool J's acting chops. So
Well, obviously we wouldn't go there, but I do remember him as the chef. That was very funny.
yeah,
I remember him being just fine in there too.
Yeah.
From
he was
my
fine. He
that
was
is
fine.
part of the fun thing of these is I used to watch movies, a lot of the movies I loved repeatedly. I was telling Ashley
Mhm.
this. I watched the movies a lot. I would speak in movie lines. I mean, in high school, Chris, like it's
Yes.
just not uncommon to
Hmm.
say lines from movies. And now I don't remember shit.
Always.
I don't remember these things because I don't rewatch movies much anymore. And
Mhm.
Yep.
I miss it. And so it's really interesting to me to go back to see a movie I haven't seen in years and does it hold up?
Hmm.
It's an
Yep.
obvious question. It's
Hmm.
just like I have come from a different place now. I've seen a lot more movies, just see things differently with, 30 something year old eyes than
Mhm.
Hmm.
16 to 20. So yeah.
Yeah, completely agree.
All right. Well, okay.
Ooh,
You have
Boogie
choices to make.
Nights.
What's that?
For who? Thomas Jane?
Yeah. Yeah, he's in that. It's a smaller role for sure. But yeah, he's in Boogie Nights.
Right.
It's funny. I mean, that's another obviously film rife with stars that
Yep.
we
Hmm.
could jump to any number of ships there. Ah,
Yep.
that's good, Alan. Thank you.
Don't say
um,
you don't
All right.
say
Well,
that. You can't. No spoilers. You can't say the scene.
I
I
know.
didn't. I
I
didn't.
know.
I said that's good. Thank you. Take
I
from that
mean,
what
but
you will.
all right. Well, that's been Popcast on the Rocks, episode 159. Chris, it's been really good to have you back. It's been a long
Mhm.
time.
Good.
Maybe we can drag you back on if we talk Armageddon or Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, maybe,
Uh,
maybe.
it's, but otherwise, everybody should make sure to follow us on YouTube, Twitch, X, Facebook, wherever you want. We're on podcast services, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, that sort of thing. The video version is on Spotify as well. So wherever you find your media content, we're probably there. Um, we have our main channel, Popcast on the Rocks, and you'll get all our live streams on Twitch under that account. If you're into the anime side of things, we have a separate anime. It's called Ohio Anime. That's on YouTube. You can follow just for that. So yeah, do so, share it out, be much appreciated. Killing the Flower wrote our main theme song, so you should look at them on music streaming services. Track Mouse 34 on YouTube. That's our friend Mike. He does racing videos. That's very cool. He's just a regular Track Mouse on Instagram. The other day, he had like his whole inside of his car gutted so he could take out any extra wires to reduce some weight. So, yep, you can see that kind of thing. And then MJ Honeybee, you can follow her on Twitch. It's our friend MJ, and she does Dead by Daylight streams predominantly. So make sure you that up. And then Peter J. Gilbertson, he was on a little bit ago. We're going to have him on again. He's going to be ready to talk about Delicious in Dungeon with us when we cover that whole thing. He's watching that.
Oh, great.
So we'll have Pete back on, but he has some fun books you can buy digitally. I think one of them is available physically. Otherwise, Peter J. Gilbertson on Amazon. Often you find his collections of horror short stories for like $2 on Amazon. So I definitely recommend going to take a look at those. Chris, do you have anything to promote or plug or anything like that?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I would, but nothing. Nothing commercial.
Okay. All right.
Watch
Okay.
watch more early 2000 movies. Come on,
Yeah.
guys.
Right. It was
Golden
era.
era.
Yep. Jinx. Yep. Okay. Well, that'll do from us. Chris, thanks for joining us. And Andrea, thanks as always. We'll see everybody next time.
Of course. Cheers, everybody.
guys.